As America celebrates a monumental moment, we are traveling the country to see the landmarks.
Welcome to the Grand Canyon.
That are symbols of our nation.
And they said, the Hollywood sign is America, Jeff.
And sharing unforgettable stories from faces and names you know.
And I'm emotional.
You're emotional right now?
Yeah. Just thinking about it.
But also stories from everyday Americans.
I'm gonna get teary-eyed.
If we could bring your dad back just for today and we asked him, what do you think of America at 250? What do you think he would say?
That's a very good question.
From a 90-year-old teacher to farmers to baseball.
Baseball is America, I think. Without baseball, there's no fun in the summer.
To those who step up to protect our freedoms.
Don't forget who did this. Don't forget what our reaction was. Don't forget the actions of the heroes that day.
The ceremony that you're about to witness is the changing of the guard.
These are the stories of us, the United States of America.
To be an American is to fully engage with heart and mind and body in the process of democracy.
This is Across America at 250.
I'm Tim Boyum, and we are about to take an epic trip together. America turns 250 years old this year, and we're going to take an epic road trip across the country to rediscover what it means to be an American. We're going to meet people on the way and tell their stories, think history, culture, sports, music, stories of inspiration, helping your neighbors, and yes, even the tough times our country has faced. We're going to start on the West Coast, California, drive through the southern border to Texas, then we'll hop a plane and go to Florida, drive up through the Mid-South into our nation's capital, hop another plane and take Mount Rushmore, drive there through the Midwest into the East Coast and New England where it all started. In the meantime, we're here in the heart of Hollywood looking for some inspiration about where to start. Maybe a sign of some kind. Oh yeah, let's go.
It's one of the most famous signs in the world. And you're about to get a rare look at it.
And there we go.
To get this close, you literally have to know the man with the keys, Jeff Saranum.
Just grab onto the fence.
Okay.
It's kind of hairy right here.
It's a treacherous trek on uneven terrain, exactly why it's closed to the public.
Kind of sidestep. It's kind of get your grip, one person on the rope at a time.
Okay.
But the payoff is a stunning sight.
My goodness.
One of the best views in LA is from right here.
I can't imagine one better.
The corrugated steel letters are 45 feet high, except the Y. It's about a foot taller, and they don't know why. Lengthwise, Jeff measures in planes, not feet.
It's two 747 jumbo jets end to end.
Originally built in the early days of the movie business in 1923, the Hollywood sign then included 4 more letters.
It was only designed to last 18 months because it was built as an advertising billboard to promote Hollywoodland, which was a development down below.
By 1949, the LAND was removed, but the 103-year-old wood supports remain today. By the 60s and 70s, the sign was anything but a symbol of the glitz and glamour of Hollywood.
But by 1977, it was a twisted mess. I was a teenager at the time, and it was embarrassing, you know. And I was like, oh, one day I got to fix that sign. This is Alan Whitfield, September 1978.
In 1978, it was replaced with the sign you see now.
We're going to go to the D.
Protecting the sign seems like destiny for Jeff. He was born and raised in Tinseltown.
My mother would push me up in a stroller. I saw this sign growing up. So that's what it means to me. To me, it's just home.
And that's the thing. It means something different to almost everyone. Last year, Jeff met 2 British women staring in amazement.
And then I started asking them, what does the Hollywood sign mean to you? And they said, and within a blink of a second, they said, the Hollywood sign is America, Jeff. That's what it means to us.
A symbol of America, a symbol of hopes and dreams.
My parents, the same thing. They came from overseas in the 50s, and Hollywood was the draw. The movies, the excitement, America. They wanted to have a land of opportunity. All those things that you hear. That's the reason why they came, and that's the reason why I'm here. I'm a benefactor of those dreams.
All right, we've left the hustle and bustle of Hollywood, The world spins fast there, but we're headed east now to a place where time is almost standing still, one of the 7 wonders of the world. That's right, the Grand Canyon. And before we head there, I should introduce someone to you. This is John Stamp, the man behind the camera, the man that makes me look as good as he possibly can, and is a big part of the show, so we want to give him some props early on here. In the meantime, we got to get some rest. We got to get there. We'll see you in the morning. Good morning and welcome to the magnificent Grand Canyon. It's a little chilly here, I'm not going to lie. It was 16 degrees when we left the hotel this morning, but we cannot complain. It's our very first time here, and after the bumper-to-bumper traffic and chaos in Los Angeles, so we're going to take things a little slower today. In fact, we're going to take you on a mule ride down into the canyon. So we got our required wide-brimmed hat, we got the strings required so we don't lose the glasses, canteen of water. What do you say we go meet our ride?
Bucky's kind of a big deal. He's named after one of our early pioneers. Bucky O'Neill is his full name.
With Bucky the Mule ready to go, time to head out on our 2-hour ride. It's our first visit ever, but let me tell you, it's so big and so awe-inspiring. Even in person, it almost looks like a painted canvas.
How y'all doing so far?
Our wrangler for the ride is Tex. You can probably guess where she grew up.
Welcome to the Grand Canyon. We became a national park in 1919 under Woodrow Wilson.
It took 6 million years for the Colorado River to carve out the Grand Canyon. It's 277 miles long and up to 18 miles wide.
Has anybody visited the Empire State Building? You can fit 3.5 of them on top of each other in that space.
While the U.S. celebrates 250 years, the history of the land puts the history of our country in perspective.
We have evidence of people being in this area as far back as 14,000 years ago.
Native American tribes still call the area home.
But so all of these 11 tribes have very strong ties to Grand Canyon. Many of them believe that they came into this world, the fourth world, here at different locations in the canyon.
A full ride into the canyon takes 7 hours. With our schedule, we stuck to a 2-hour stunning tour of the rim. Before we let old Bucky get a sip of water and rest, we had to ask Tex what it means to be an American here at the Grand Canyon.
The first thing that comes to my mind is Americans tend to be pretty proud about our country. We fly our American flags high and proud, and I hear that in other countries that's not so much the case.
It's 422 miles from the Grand Canyon to our next stop in southeast Arizona, a dusty exit after hours of rural highway and western landscape.
So welcome to Apple Annie's Country Store here in Willcox, Arizona. Back in 2018, Lonely Planet, a international travel guide, named this place the best place in the world to eat apple pie. Now, technically it wasn't here, it was in the orchards a little ways away from here, but this time of year it's closed, so this was the closest we could get to it. Apple pie actually wasn't invented here. It was back in England in the late 1300s, but the colonists brought it, and in the early 1900s it became an American thing as part of comfort and prosperity. And then by World War II, soldiers were saying that they were going to war to fight for mom and apple pie. And of course, the saying became something was as American as apple pie. So we had to get a little apple pie on the trip. We're gonna eat this up. In the meantime, we gotta get to the US-Mexico border, El Paso. Here we come.
Our trip from Willcox to El Paso clocked in at 235 miles, about 3.5 hours. Pulling into El Paso and seeing two worlds from one highway was mind-blowing. Time for a quick stop, get a little Tex-Mex before we get a good night's rest.
Luis, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for meeting us.
Luis Garcia grew up here and in recent years reported for Spectrum News covering the border.
The Department of Defense, in collaboration with Border Patrol, has deployed these Stryker vehicles.
El Paso and Juarez, Mexico are two cities separated by a river and a wall.
Yeah, I grew up in Juarez, but I was born here in El Paso.
Driving into the city of nearly 700,000, you look left and see American businesses and homes. Then look right, you see the border wall and impoverished areas of Mexico. Both places in eyesight, but might as well be a million miles apart.
Mexico doesn't have the infrastructure that El Paso has, or that the United States has. So you can see that difference really quick as long as you cross to Juarez.
81% of the people in El Paso are Hispanic, the largest city in the U.S. with an absolute Hispanic majority. And for years now, at the center of the immigration debate.
We see so much on the news, national news, about immigration and border status. Is that the life here then for people?
No,
Does it
not
dominate?
really.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. When we got this migrant crisis and we saw these images in national news about this invasion of migrants here in El Paso, it was just 2 blocks or 1 block in downtown. That's it. I mean, you were not seeing migrants on the streets everywhere.
What do you think it means to be an American in El Paso, Texas, here along the border?
The best from both worlds. Being an American here, you can enjoy the traditions of Mexico. You can enjoy all the beauty that is the culture of Mexico.
This area is much more than an immigration debate.
Oh yeah, totally. And I hope that many people have the opportunity to come to El Paso like you and see with their own eyes how is everything here.
Yeah. Well, cheers to that. Let's get some dinner, not let it get cold. Thanks for being. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
After a night's rest and 576 of West Texas miles the next day, we arrived in Austin for a story about a great American trait, neighbors helping neighbors.
Hey bro, what's up, man?
Take one stroll on a golf cart through Community First Village.
How you doing, brother?
You realize real quick, everyone knows Alan Graham.
Love you, bro.
Love you also.
It's a village of tiny homes, but the big heart of Graham makes this place tick.
How you doing, bro?
1 second at a time.
The homes are tiny, but they're huge for those who live in them.
So you have to be chronically homeless and unaccompanied male or female with a disabling condition. Could be physical, mental, or addiction. Having lived on the streets of Austin at least a year, but the average number of years on the streets here is 9 years.
It started 10 years ago with 235 homes. As the dream expands, that number could one day reach 2,000 or more.
And they come fully furnished, decorated to your personality with a refrigerator, freezer, microwave, crock pot, and a coffee maker. This is our entrepreneur hub. This is where all the Van Goghs are. This is Honey Van Gogh right here. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
She's one of our great artists, and a couple of volunteers right here.
From artwork to gardening, residents earn what Graham calls dignified income.
This on the left is our farming, HQ, chickens.
Rent averages $400 a month, and they do enforce it. The homes are in clusters of 40 to 50 to ensure a community feeling.
There's about 15 of these on site. Every neighborhood has one. Laundry, restroom, shower, outdoor kitchen. And we claim to have more potlucks per capita than anywhere in the world here.
The faceless and nameless on the streets, now known as neighbors.
How are you, sir?
Good to meet you,
Tim.
Good to
nice
meet
to
you,
meet
Tim.
you.
This is Blair,
thank
one of
you.
the
Thank you,
neighbors,
guys.
ecstatic to show us where he now rests his head at night.
Queen size bed. Yeah.
I see the smile on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Once silent on the streets, now a social butterfly.
About 6 years ago, I gave him the nickname the mayor because I talked to 50 or 60 people a day. It's all about making people feel good about themselves. One of the biggest problems with people who are homeless, low self-esteem, so just talk to them, listen to them. That's what I do every day. That's my job.
72 years old now, he spent 4 years on the streets of Austin. He was a real estate broker from Minnesota and Florida, but when a business partner left him high and dry in Austin, Blair had no family and no money. Then, Alan Graham found him.
Here's my good friend and future superstar, Kenny Jacobs. Woo!
Here he hosts karaoke nights, a far cry from those lonely nights on the streets.
He's my brother, and I want you to know you rock. Love you, man. It can happen to anybody. And I want to have people have more compassion for people that are homeless. I mean, it was hard for me. I mean, I remember the first day I was homeless. I mean, what's the deal, God? I'm a broker in 2 states. I made 6 figures, and I'm walking the streets of Austin.
By now you might be wondering, who is Alan Graham?
My mom was profoundly mentally ill, institutionalized many times over the course of her short life. The first time was when I was about 4.
In the late 90s, a ministry retreat inspired him to give up a highly successful real estate career to help the homeless.
But I just got enamored with the men and women that were on the street. So the idea, the food truck, which is what started everything, going out on the streets feeding people.
That food truck still sits front and center to remind them of their roots. But Graham realized the homeless needed more than a meal. They needed a home.
Did it change you moving here,
Everything.
here with these people?
Yeah, everything has changed me. The whole thing, the stereotypes, the biases, everything. You know, what's it going to be like living around drug addicts, alcoholics, mentally ill people? That's the neighborhood.
Remember the folks who live here? They're called neighbors. Alan is now one of them.
I was never going to live here. Was going to die in the home that we owned for 34 years and raised our family in Westlake Hills, the neighborhood.
But he and his wife downsized from 3,000 square feet to a couple hundred. It's also where he pitches people to fund the project.
I do pizza and stuff, and we cook for people. Some of the most wealthiest people in the world been on that deck. I mean, serious multi-billionaires. It's hard for me to describe how much this is home. It's such an incredible place for us. This is where we want to live. This is where we want to die. But people in their minds think that, my God, how can you live in a neighborhood like this and be safe? You know, you must really be brave. You know, but go open that door right now. Is that door locked?
It is not locked.
That door is not locked.
These are all my friends and my neighbors.
Back at Blair's house, the man who came here with nothing now has everything.
Just being here is so special to me because I have family now. I have people who love me unconditionally. I mean, the girls in the office, they're my people. They call me Dad, and they love me.
The average age of death in the streets is 48 years old. Here, the average is 61. Forgotten on the streets, forever remembered at Community First Village.
If you give us the rights to your body, you won't be buried in the pauper cemetery where the despised and outcast go to be lost and forgotten. We will cremate you at our cost. We have a volunteer team that makes these unbelievable, beautiful urns. And then we etch your name in granite, inter your remains in one of those niches that's, secured inside there.
You might think a life on the streets would impact how they feel about this country. But after visiting this village, I found them incredibly optimistic.
There's a lot of bad things they're saying about the United States. I mean, I love this country. I think it's great. It's got so much potential. They just got to look at it the right way.
With our hearts full, it's time to hit the road for a short trip after a night's rest to a place known as Cowtown.
Well, good morning. After a night's rest and an impactful day yesterday, we're here in Fort Worth, Texas, talking all things Western culture. It's role in American history, what it is today, and what it might be in the future. We're going to get a quick cup of coffee here first at the historic Paris Coffee Shop celebrating 100 years this year. Chris, good to see you, man.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Glad you're here. Place.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So
A lot of history behind it.
Yeah, 100 years this year, right?
100 years this year, so oldest restaurant in Fort Worth, 6th oldest in Texas.
For a century, Paris Coffee Shop has warmed the stomachs and souls of cattlemen starting their day. Not many cattlemen come in these days, but owner Chris Reel has preserved its soul.
Heritage, history, legacy, huge things in Fort Worth. Not saying that other big cities don't have that. Dallas, Austin, you just see a ton of influence in those cities. And in Fort Worth, this is Cowtown, and it's been Cowtown since the beginning. You know, they say Fort Worth's where the West begins, and here we are, 2026, and I still feel like it really holds those values.
At home here in Texas, it doesn't get much more American than the famous Longhorn. Tourists flock to the Fort Worth stockyards today, but it was once a way of life.
Gosh, where else could you go to see history that comes to life? This was an active livestock exchange in the 1800s up until about the early 1900s. They purchased and exchanged, bought and sold everything from cattle to pigs to sheep to goats. It was a metropolis, but the first and foremost, it was a cattle exchange.
It was known as the Wall Street of the West early on, but stopped daily operations before the turn of the century. Georgia Cartwright manages the herd, but her family operates a ranch as well. You can sense her pride, but also her concern about a changing America.
20 years ago, you'd drive 10 miles out of town and there were still hay fields. There were still livestock fields. You saw cattle and hay production everywhere, and now you see apartments in neighborhoods.
Do you worry about that?
I do. But again, that's where I'm hanging on to what we have, and I'm digging my heels in, and I'm going to continue to produce livestock. I'm going to continue to raise horses, because again, I take it as a personal responsibility to educate anybody that'll listen about our Western heritage.
Perhaps the greatest symbol of that Western heritage, the cowboy hat.
Well, let's go look at some colors.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start there. I think I kind of have an idea of what color for you, but
Okay.
we'll see what you think first.
I'm pretty sure I trust you.
And we found just the place.
We're in the best hat store of the Fort Worth Stockyards. The store this month is 30 years old. My parents started it in March of 1996.
They also own the American Hat Company that handcrafts the straw and felt hats. I left my fate in the hands of hat shaper Danny Adams.
Steel gray.
That's what he said.
Love it.
Have to trust him.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
The hat is such an iconic symbol. What we call it is it's the hat factor. So really, it represents status. It represents values. My dad used to say, my late father used to say that the hat's not the accessory, everything else is. And if you're wearing a cowboy hat and a right-shaped, fitted cowboy hat into a room, it garners attention and in a positive aspect.
Get in the center, so lining it up with your face.
Until today, I never knew how a cowboy hat was customized.
So how does this work?
So just hot steam, and it softens that crown and the brim up, softens the felt up, where I can form it, and then when it hot dries, when it cools off, it hardens back up.
10 minutes later, my hat was shaped to perfection.
All right, try that. That's it.
Feels perfect.
Yeah. I love it.
I look like a cowboy now?
I look like a cowboy.
The cowboy hat's a symbol of cowboys in America, a place where pride runs deep.
What do you think it means to be an American?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna get teary-eyed. What it means to be an American. It means my granddad that volunteered to go fight in World War II. It means my dad that was in the Air Force. It means cowboys and cowgirls from 150 years ago that had the grit to move from east to west.
And Georgia's grit to carry on that tradition, even in a changing world.
As we wrap up this first leg of our journey, we do so in Dallas, Texas, in Dealey Plaza, to honor President John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated here in 1963. An axe still marks the spot here. Tragedy and tough stories are part of who we are as Americans as well. We'll explore more of that on the next leg of our journey. In the meantime, we got to get some rest, catch a flight to Florida. We'll see you there.
When Across America at 2:50 returns, we head east for some incredible stories with some well-known faces.
This Across America at 2:50 pit stop is sponsored by San Antonio Shoes.
Time for a quick pit stop, and we're coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, home of SAS, San Antonio Shoes, celebrating 50 years in business, and to this day, still manufacturing their shoes in the United States of America. Let's go check it out.
You would never expect a shoe factory looks like this. Meet Tyler Rummer, grandson of SAS co-founder Terry Armstrong.
SAS was started on a wing and a prayer. Two Maine shoemakers who were very frustrated about the offshoring of the shoemaking industry.
50 years later, SAS remains one of the few shoemakers left in the USA. From hand stitching to hand cutting to design, it's all done here in the heart of Texas.
It's hands-on as much as it is strategic.
And much more complicated than you might imagine.
In the simplest ones, you're probably 10 to 20 parts. In the most complex ones, you could be in the 50s.
I would say we're actually moving at light speed, but methodically.
Made in America. So it's fitting SAS now handcrafts a shoe for military recruits.
This makes sure that they have shoes on their feet they're not going to need to be replaced in 6 months.
For 50 years, a focus on comfort, customers with foot problems, and huge variety of sizes and widths. But for the next 50 years, inspired to broaden that focus, one stitch at a time.
Welcome to Florida. We're going to head here up through the South into our nation's capital next. And there are some difficult and challenging stories about the South that we will tell. But we wanted to start here in wild Florida to talk about America's fascination with wildlife, outdoors, and maybe even some gators. Tourism and theme parks are a vital part of Florida's American identity. Generations of families grew up with the mouse or Universal monsters. In fact, two of my all-time favorite pictures of my daughter are from Disney World. This one where she fell asleep standing up after a long day at the parks. How about the time we worried about a roller coaster might scare her? Yeah, not so much. Last year, 143 million visitors stopped in the Sunshine State. It's the #1 domestic travel destination in the United States, pumping in some $135 billion into Florida's economy. But it's not just theme parks.
Everybody, I'm Captain Jeff. I'll be your tour guide.
They come for the beaches and, yes, Florida gators.
It's been a part of their culture for years and years, back to the old Indians and the original people that lived here, and it was all part of their food sources.
Believe it or not, alligators were nearly extinct in the 50s and 60s in Florida, as a result of overhunting and habitat loss. Today, there's an estimated 1.3 million alligators, larger than the population of the city of Jacksonville.
All right, let's go. Everybody ready?
We're at the headwaters of the Everglades, and for the first bit of our trip, we saw more birds and bugs than gators.
The bird on the right here is called the blue heron. If you live in North America, you may have them where you live. Oh, the bugs are out. I'm trying to avoid these. I'm going to go out to the lake and get out of these bugs. Just a minute.
As we cruised on, Captain Jeff hit us with some trivia that might surprise you about the blue herons and great American egrets.
And believe it or not, those two birds are the two biggest predators out here on the lake for gators. Two reasons why. They don't mess with the big ones, but the eggs and the babies are some of their favorite food.
In fact, less than a third of alligator babies survive a year. But if they do, the hunter and hunted roles reverse, as female alligators reach 8 feet and males 11 feet on average. I'm going to be honest, for a bit I wasn't sure we would see a gator, but finally, about halfway through the trip, bobbing heads came into view.
Did you see a gator over there? It's out in the middle. Oh yeah, there he is.
Now, those of you not in Florida might find this wild. Despite up to 1,000 alligators in this lake, people still swim and water ski. Apparently, alligators are afraid of humans. But we are not taking our chances today as the tour cruises back to the dock.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, folks.
Back on land, we are now on our way to Alabama, some 540 miles, a state with a complicated American story. We've arrived here now in Selma, Alabama, and the Edmund Pettus Bridge. It was here in March of 1965 that some 600 civil rights marchers were going to march from Selma to Montgomery in the capital, about 54 miles. But instead, they were met by dozens of Alabama state troopers who ordered them to go home. Barely a minute into a 2-minute warning, troopers used clubs, bullwhips, and tear gas, injuring 58 peaceful protesters, including 25-year-old John Lewis.
As we crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge, we were met by state troopers who shot us with tear gas, beat us with nightsticks, and trampled us with horses.
Bloody Sunday became a symbol of brutal racism in the South. 2 weeks later, Dr. Martin Luther King helped finish that march to Montgomery. The events in Selma helped push Congress to pass the Voting Rights Act.
President Johnson addresses a joint session of Congress to push a voting rights bill aimed at ending discrimination.
In the decades since, Dr. King's son, Martin Luther King III, has made many trips across the same bridge. And it's time for us to head to Atlanta to sit down with Dr. King's son to talk about his dad, voting rights, and one big question: what would his dad think about America today? Our day started in the heart of the National Historic Park honoring Dr. King, also his final resting place. Walk a block and you can see Dr. King's birth home and a picture of Martin Luther King III standing outside it with his dad.
I remember various people like Julian Bond, like John Lewis, like Stokely Carmichael coming in and out of our home. Dad would bring people frequently to have meetings.
Martin was just 5 years old during that famous I Have a Dream speech. His memories are a reminder of challenging times.
I remember him, coming up the house, the stairs one day to our home, and you could tell he was super exhausted. He had no energy left. As soon as he saw us, all of a sudden this energy, this smile, this love, I don't know where it came from, but that's what happened frequently when we were in his presence.
But then, in April 1968, his life and the country would change forever.
We actually were in our family room watching television, and it was announced over the news that about 7:05 that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has just been shot.
His mom had to tell her children their father would never walk up those stairs again.
She said that your father has been killed or has gone home to live with God, which set a tone. Well, Dad's no longer here. He's gone to live with God. When you see him, he will not be able to hug and kiss you, but we will see him again one day.
Interestingly, King says he never truly understood who his father was until he was murdered.
I knew he was trying to help people, but I did not understand the magnitude of who he was, because that's just what he and his team did.
It would inspire him to dedicate his own life to the same causes.
If we're going to resolve these issues in America, we've got to come together.
The son, still concerned today about voting rights in America, with gerrymandering and recent Supreme Court decisions weighing heavily on his mind. 6 decades after Dr. King's famous speech and 58 years since his death, I wonder what he would think of America at 250. And what if he wasn't assassinated?
He always was an optimist, so he'd find a way to make the reality not so negative. We should be able to look back, celebrate a lot of things, and still say, we are making great strides and we still got a ways to go, but we're doing great things, as opposed to saying, okay, we've gotten to 250, we're going to turn things back to Jim Crow. That's what it feels like for some in the black and brown community, and that should be an era that is long gone. If Dad had lived, all of that would be, I think, long gone.
Time to hit the road and head north 250 miles to the Tennessee capital. We're looking to find another well-known face and voice. Welcome to Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, home of the famous Broadway strip and all the honky-tonks you could ask for. We had to talk about music and its role in American history, but we're not going into one of the honky-tonks. We're here in Nashville to talk with a man who wrote and sang one of the most famous songs ever about America. In a town full of hopeful singers, we are headed a half hour south to meet a legend.
This is 88, 87.
The one and only Lee Greenwood.
Early on in my life, my father joined the Navy right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the next day.
To share the story, perhaps the most famous patriotic song of our time. You know the song, but I bet you don't know the story behind it.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
It all started on a tour bus in 1983.
And I'd written several songs, and this one night, I don't know, we're in between Arkansas and Texas, I just came upon the melody, and I thought, what better time to do this than now?
So it was the melody first, but were you trying to do a patriotic song, or the melody came to you and you made it a patriotic song?
50-50. It became patriotic because the line, I'm proud to be an American. I think my mindset was, my dad joined the Navy at a time when America was proud of itself. And to tell you the truth, many people become more proud of our country when there's a war, because everybody sacrifices.
It's famous now, but it almost never made the album.
When I brought it to my producer, Jerry Crutchfield, who would give me always my say if I wanted to release something, it wasn't God Bless USA. That was not in the release schedule.
But on Halloween 1983, Greenwood was in L.A. taping Solid Gold and took a limo to the head of the record company's home.
He's standing in the door of his house. No gate. It's not a gated community. And his 3 children dressed as bumblebees are off trick-or-treating. There they go. And he stays in the door. I can see him silhouetted in the doorway. So I get out of the car and I grab the bottle of champagne. I said, I'm gonna make my big entrance here. And I said, I also have a new song I want you to hear. He said, let's hear it. Tape out, put it in the tape deck, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. He said, interesting.
Later, that executive would push to make God Bless the USA the single off the album.
If he hadn't said that, no one would have ever heard it, because radio only plays the designated song you give them.
Stand up next to you.
It was an instant hit, especially with the military.
It was an endorsement of what they do. They knew how much we loved them, and they loved me for it.
At the 1984 Republican National Convention, Ronald Reagan quoted the song in his speech.
Because there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Greenwood has sung it on USO tours and at sporting events. But the only time he ever struggled with his emotions was after 9/11 at a NASCAR race in Dover.
Nothing left but the cameraman and the director and me on the track. Ready. And the director goes, wait. Silence. Crickets. And the Jumbotron in the center of the field goes from TNN to NBC and Tom Brokaw. And you could see behind him bombs falling in Baghdad. And he says, America strikes back. The director goes, sing. I was like, I had to just kind of get a hold of myself, because like, I'm an American. This is like, we've lost 3,000 Americans in New York. This is my father's war in Pearl Harbor all over again. And I'm emotional.
You're emotional right now?
Yes.
A song almost left off the album, but now an iconic tribute that will outlast all of us.
God bless the USA.
From one capital to another, we head east 540 miles through the mountains to Raleigh, North Carolina, home to an unbelievable story about a founding document stolen and then recovered nearly 140 years later.
I'm Tim Boyum from Spectrum News.
We are deep in the basement of the North Carolina State Archives.
The first document that we have out today.
In a highly secured climate and light-controlled vault.
This is the first page of the original Declaration of Rights.
For a rare look at some of North Carolina's most important and oldest treasures.
And this is the first page of the actual Constitution of North Carolina from 1776.
Then, a document more than 360 years old, still in incredible condition.
This is one of the original charters for the Carolina colony.
But hidden in this room, a founding document with a story so unbelievable, it's hard to believe it's true.
I first learned about it about 5 days before we got it back.
This is Paul Newby. He's the Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court, but he's obsessed with history, and you'll see later he's a key part to this Bill of Rights story. As state after state began ratifying the U.S. Constitution in 1787, North Carolina still feared federal overreach and held out, demanding more. Eventually, a Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791, protecting personal freedom, legal rights, and limiting government power. Each of the 13 original states received a copy of the Bill of Rights, But 74 years later, in 1865, as the Civil War ended, Union troops guarding the North Carolina state capitol began to leave. And as the story goes, one soldier decided to take a souvenir home to Ohio.
Anyway, this soldier rolled it up, stuck it in his backpack, carried it to Tippecanoe, Ohio, where he ran into a friend, Charles Shotwell, who was a businessman in Indianapolis, Indiana. And Mr. Shotwell offered this soldier a $5 gold piece for that memorabilia of his time in North Carolina. And so Mr. Shotwell ended up with it.
Over decades, the family tried to sell it to North Carolina, but the state refused to pay for its own property. Then, for nearly 70 years, silence, until the 1990s when Shotwell's granddaughters tried to sell it again.
The ladies ultimately sold it to somebody, a guy named Wayne Pratt, who was on the Antique Roadshow. He had a business and he had a silent partner, and the two of them, went to the Shotwell sisters and said, we'll give you $200,000. And so they sold it for $200,000.
In 1995, the antique dealers hired a D.C. attorney who once again tried to sell it to the state, this time with a threat.
Saying, "Dear Madam Secretary, my client has your original copy of the Bill of Rights. If you try to find out who he is or who the client is or where the document is, it will be destroyed or taken overseas. If you'd like to buy it, the price is $10 million.
The state again balked. Then in 2003, they tried to sell it to the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. But then Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell reached out to North Carolina's governor, who reached out to the feds. Which brings us back to North Carolina Supreme Court Chief Justice Paul Newby. There's a reason he knows this story so well. He was then an assistant U.S. attorney tasked with rescuing the Bill of Rights.
He came up with the idea of inserting an FBI agent into the process, that it would take Pennsylvania and the folks at the National Constitution Center, Governor Rendell and those folks, take them, or would require them to pretend that everything was going to go on as they had talked about, and the FBI agent would just be the money guy.
So they negotiate a fake $4 million deal, and an FBI agent literally gets a fake $4 million cashier's check.
FBI agent reaches in his pocket, pulls out the check, shows it to him. FBI agent sticks the check back.
Moments later, document experts verified it as the real deal.
The FBI agent walks over to the attorney, says, "I guess you were waiting for this," and reaches in his pocket and pulls out the seizure warrant from the Eastern District of North Carolina. "We're taking the document. You don't get any money. I'm going to let you leave today and go home, but don't leave the country because we're going to be in touch. Have a good day."
The Bill of Rights was then loaded onto an FBI plane back to North Carolina. But the dealers fought ownership of it in court for 5 years until it was officially declared North Carolina's document in 2008.
The highest attempted bid at one point was for $10 million. What do you think that document is worth?
I've been told is worth $40 million.
Let's be honest, it's a priceless document and a priceless story that Paul Newby loves to tell every moment he gets the chance.
I believe that the shot heard around the world that I learned as a child, April the 19th, 1775, was actually the idea that our rights don't come from those in power, not the government, not a constitution, not even a Bill of Rights. Our rights come from a higher source, and it applies to everybody, that all are created equal, endowed by our Creator with the same rights. These are fundamental rights that government needs to protect, the courts.
From a state capital to our nation's capital, 276 miles to our final destination of this leg, and a story focused on our nation's military and those who sacrifice everything.
Entry into Arlington National Cemetery cannot be purchased. It must be earned through some type of service or sacrifice.
More than 400,000 stones line Arlington Cemetery, row after row. Silent stories of sacrifice and selflessness.
Freedoms that we enjoyed every single day, they're not free. Right? You can see it every day when you look out at the headstones.
A solemn silence lingers in the air, but if you listen closely, a rhythmic cadence of sacrifice echoes in the distance, followed by the strong voice of a soldier.
May I have your attention, please? I am Captain Stolowski of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army.
Soldiers protecting soldiers. This is the story behind the soldiers who protect the tomb of the unknown soldier.
It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you.
So the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier was established in 1921. That's when we interred our first unknown from World War I.
By 1948, the Old Guard, or 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, became the official unit. It's guarded the tomb 24/7, 365 days a year ever since. 2 more unknowns from World War II and the Korean War remain interred as well. A symbolic grave to reflect the honor and sacrifice of the unidentified dead from all wars.
When you first walk in, you see this big old board, a lot of names on it, a lot of placards.
And today, a rare experience. We're taking you behind the tomb and down below to their quarters.
You earn your Tomb Guard badge, which is actually the 2nd rarest Army badge in the Army.
The badge these soldiers earn is among the rarest in the military.
The 2nd rarest badge in the Army, so the badge was established in 1958. So since 1958, there's only been 739 badges ever awarded.
And making it to the mat, it's no easy task.
We go through a series of 5 different tests. Each test includes the same 3 pillars, which is a uniform test, outside performance, and a knowledge-based test. For the knowledge-based test, it culminates in memorizing 17 pages of knowledge verbatim, which includes the history of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, cemetery history, and a lot of Old Guard history as well.
We saw that firsthand on our tour.
This document right here is actually his orders to go to Chalon-sur-Marne, France, and actually select the World War I unknown. So pretty much without these orders, this whole place would not be a thing.
Then there's the demanding uniform regulations.
For the uniform test, there's over 100 deficiencies you can have on your uniform, and something as small as your medals being off a 64th of an inch can be one of those deficiencies. We're trying to be the best representation of these unknowns to the rest of America and the world, and so us achieving that level of perfection allows us to display that professionalism and the strong American soldier that the country and the world expects from America.
The testing is so rigorous, as few as 1 in 10 actually make it through training. And when they do, the sacrifice never stops.
Our work week is 9 days long instead of the typical 7. Of the 9 days, we work day 1, day 3, and day 5. And those are your 24-hour shifts.
Within that 24-hour workday, they take shifts on the mat, 30 minutes at a time during the summer and an hour during the winter. But for these soldiers, known as sentinels, they volunteer, a selfless act to honor the fallen.
You're not really thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the others that you do it for, and not only the unknowns, but like their families and just keeping their great stories alive.
For me personally, to the Gold Star mothers who have lost their sons in battle, who are MIA, whatever, seeing them come here and then actually walking the mat in front of them and just thinking that I could be their last representation of their loved one is a pretty strong thought that I have most of the time.
In so many ways, Arlington National Cemetery is the story of America.
You can start as far south, and kind of see how the evolution of the cemetery happened, in Section 27 in the far south, where it's segregated. Got some of the Civil War stuff down there, colored soldiers in one section, Confederate soldiers in the other, and how it transforms as you walk across the cemetery.
It honors the past, but to this day, there are 28 funerals a day, 5 days a week. An iconic resting place to honor the sacrifice and selflessness of those who gave it all, and those stepping up today to protect it for future generations.
America is founded on amazing individuals like those unknowns. Us having the chance to honor them every day it's changed all of our lives, and we're so proud of their sacrifices and lucky to be in their presence and be standing here 250 years later.
What a powerful moment and reminder here in our nation's capital, those who have served and continue to serve our nation and protect the freedoms that we enjoy every day as Americans. All right, we got to head home, get a little rest, catch a plane for the last leg of our trip as we head to our final destination in Lexington, Massachusetts. We've got stories of mountain carvers, farmers, teachers, baseball, first responders, and more. We'll see you next in South Dakota.
This Across America at 250 pit stop is sponsored by Hershey's.
Time for a pit stop and welcome to the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania. We all know about those milk chocolate bars, but what about the man behind the brand and the legacy that still lives on today?
He was a genuinely good person.
When Milton Hershey launched his chocolate company in 1894, the sweet treat was a luxury. A tough childhood inspired him to shake up the world of candy.
I think he spent a lot of his life struggling financially, and this was this amazing thing that he loved and wanted to be able to share with people and didn't want to only be making something for rich people.
132 years later, a rare glimpse into the place where Hershey's Kisses are still crafted for the entire world.
It's anywhere between 70 and 90 million kisses a day.
And those kisses helping fund another Hershey legacy. Unable to have their own children, in 1909, Hershey and his wife opened what is now the Milton Hershey School.
Mr. Hershey believed that it was important for us to have a mindset, a heart set, and a skill set.
In 1918, he donated $60 million to fund it forever. Today, that fortune is still funding all costs for low-income families from all over the country.
The school was the thing that he really wanted to live on forever, and everything he did was in support of that goal. And when you buy a Hershey's bar, you are supporting Milton Hershey School.
Changing lives, one piece of chocolate at a time.
We're on our way to our final destination in Massachusetts, the start of the Revolutionary War and the birth of a nation. But we began in another pretty epic place here in South Dakota. Ever wonder where the idea came from to put 4 presidents on the side of a mountain? Back in 1923, a state historian named Dwayne Robinson suggested a mountain carving to boost tourism for South Dakota. But it was sculptor Gutzon Borglum who chose George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Nearly 400 men and women worked on the 60-foot-tall heads starting in 1927 until it was declared done in 1941. Now, I bet you thought we were here to tell a story about Mount Rushmore, but we're actually here to see another mountain carving just 16 miles away. Call it a cultural response to Mount Rushmore. As soon as you pull off the highway, the profile of a legendary warrior comes into view.
So he's riding on a horse.
He is Crazy Horse, the man chiseled into the granite high up on the mountain.
You know, my land is where my relatives that lie buried. And so that's where he's kind of pointing on his horse.
This is Whitney Rencounter, CEO of the Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation.
He was a very important war leader for our people, and very courageous, and exemplified the values and virtues of our ancestors, and the courage, the bravery, the selflessness.
In the late 1930s, as work on Mount Rushmore wrapped up, Chief Henry Standing Bear wanted the world to know Native Americans have heroes too, like Crazy Horse, born 40 miles from here.
He wanted to do something first to honor his first cousin who defeated General George Armstrong Custer during the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, June 25, 1876.
Chief Henry Standing Bear recruited renowned sculptor Korczak Julkowski. Blasting began in 1948, but interestingly, the image of Crazy Horse was based on memory.
Crazy Horse did not want his photo ever taken, and many others as well. It was just kind of a belief of our people. So Chief Henry Standing Bear and some of the veterans described to Korczak what Crazy Horse looked like. And so he came up with the renderings based off of that.
Now, Mount Rushmore took 14 years to complete, and here we are nearly 80 years into the carving of Crazy Horse. So what's the deal? Money's a major factor.
Yeah, Korczak twice turned down $10 million from the government to help support this project. And Chief Henry Standing Bear and Korczak, when they came together in agreement to work on this project, they felt that this had to be done by the people. And so to maintain that integrity to share about Native American culture.
Let's talk size for a moment. Crazy Horse's head is 87 feet tall. The arm will stretch 263 feet. This model shows what the entire mountain will look like. To give you perspective, look at the size of a single fingernail on the hand. Remember, the Mount Rushmore heads are 60 feet tall.
You could fit the whole carving of Mount Rushmore into the side of Crazy Horse's head.
I'm sure many of you have caught on by now. Visiting here is complicated in terms of America turning 250 years old.
Our people have gone through a lot, I think our voices deserve to be showcased, our voices and our efforts and the challenges that we have gone through. We have to be able to share that in our school books across America, because when people learn and they have a better understanding, then they start to realize the challenging and complicated relationship that our people have with the government.
2 mountains, 2 carvings, one complicated story about the origins of America. We've got a long ways to go, so it's time to get a move on. From Rapid City, we drive 612 miles through South Dakota and Minnesota into rural Wisconsin. After a night's rest, it's time to see an underappreciated American industry icon, farming and food production. Small towns like Ellsworth, Wisconsin, built this country. The heartland, where neighbors proudly display their pride of America, and a place where a factory remains the heart of the tiny town.
We're in the cheese curd capital of Wisconsin here today.
Literally, the Wisconsin governor declared this a fact in 1983.
We'll start at the cheese vat.
As a Minnesota native who grew up eating cheese curds, I'm stoked to see how they're made.
The plant opened in 1910 and we were making butter and selling eggs. In the 60s, we started taking the milk and processing it into cheese and butter.
It's a cooperative, meaning 180 dairy farmers own the place.
They're not only owners of the business, but they're also owners of dairy farms that they're operating 24/7, 365.
Wisconsin makes 25% of cheese in the U.S. Dairy remains a $52.8 billion industry in Wisconsin, but it's struggling like dairy farms across the country. In 2006, nearly 15,000 dairy farms painted the landscape in Wisconsin. Today, that number has dropped to nearly 5,000. There are all kinds of reasons: urban growth gobbling up land, children not taking over the family business, high costs, and so on. But for today, we're here to celebrate Wisconsin's love of cheese. Alison Dembeck's our tour guide, the head cheesemaker here.
We go through 1.5 million pounds of milk a day here. Yeah.
I don't even know how to think about that.
Put it this way, 30 massive trucks deliver milk here every single day.
So this is where it all begins, with filling these vats. It takes 46 minutes just to fill the vat. This is curds and whey. The yellow is the whey, and the white is the curd.
24-hour day operation, 365 days a year.
So we start making cheese at 5 a.m. So we'll start filling the first vat at 5 a.m. By 8:30, we have a cheese that's ready to go to our next step. So you'll make a big mat of curd, which is what we're doing here. All the curd's going onto this mat. The whey drains to the bottom, and then the curd stays up here.
This machine then cuts a 60-foot long curd into pieces. Then it's time for salting.
Salting brings so much to cheese. So it's flavor first. It's also a preservative. And because it's preserving, it's removing excess liquid.
It was finally time for a taste test. You experience the famous squeak of a cheese curd.
So cheese curd is special in that it's like an individual piece. And so it's almost like an intermediate step in the cheese making process. Curds kind of like are cheese in the moment. And so you stop the cheese making process, capture that magic, and then sell it as a snack. 200 pounds of that times 75 curds a pound. They're making 14.2 million curds today.
With a to-go bag of curds, we roll on 363 miles southeast to the Windy City for a night's rest. Tomorrow, we're going to experience America's favorite pastime.
Hey, souvenirs over here, guys. Stop and shop.
It's early in the baseball season, really the best time of year. a time when every team still has a chance.
Since I was a little kid, I grew up around here. Love my Cubbies.
Built in 1914 and the second oldest ballpark in America, Wrigley Field literally sits in a Chicago neighborhood. Records mark the first official baseball game in the U.S. in 1846. By the 1850s, it was referred to as the national pastime. The origins of the Chicago Cubs date all the way back to 1870. Huge, beyond balls and strikes.
A lot of stuff's going on right now where people ain't getting along, where if everybody gets along and love each other, there won't be no violence, you know? I think love goes a long way in this place, and there's a lot of love at Wrigley Field. That's one thing you will get at Wrigley Field, love from everybody.
After a Chicago dog and cold beer in the famous bleachers, it was time to head 279 miles to our next destination, Beverly Hills, but not the one you're thinking about.
They have 20 words a week to learn, and then twice a year they have to present vocabulary in a physical form.
The artwork on the walls in Beverly Hannah Price's classroom spans decades.
This one received a 100. Look at that.
She beams with pride and marvels long after the kids graduate.
What did it take to measure the space? The letters all had to fit in height, width, in order to communicate the meaning of claustrophobia, fear of being in closed, tight places.
Her teaching style and her relentless kindness are legendary at Detroit Country Day School.
I'm a teacher because my grandmother was one. My mother was one. Of course I was going to be one. And of course it had to be English. Oh, did I love to read. Every book I could get my hands on horses.
Her teaching career started when Dwight D. Eisenhower occupied the White House.
My first teaching job was in Parma, Michigan, a town of 750.
I know you're doing the math in your head. How old is she, right? Her 60s?
Do you remember what you made your first year?
$4,400.
Nope. How about her 70s?
Life is wonderful.
Not a chance. Gotta be her 80s, right?
Do you see the grin on my face?
Guess again.
Oh, heavens, yes. I was the first female teacher in the upper school here at Country Day, first female dean, first female department chair. Isn't that something?
It's amazing, right?
And they still have me here, 90 years old. Absolutely love it.
Wait until you hear who she's taught.
Glenn Alexander, my student, great hockey player here, Harvard Med School, works at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, has treated 3 of our presidents.
Then there's the top 15 richest person in the world and former Microsoft CEO.
Steve Ballmer was a student of mine for a couple of years. Unbelievable intelligence.
Or how about comedian and actor Robin Williams?
Quick wit, found the best humor in the most mundane events to make people just smile, grin, and laugh.
From doctors and comedians to NBA All-Stars.
All right, Chris Webber, 6'9", quiet boy. He drove a car, a blue Datsun. You could see the wheels through the holes in the bumper.
And we can't forget Tony and Emmy Award-winning actor Courtney B. Vance.
I went to his wedding when he married Angela Bassett.
Famous people, but at the end of the day, she's the one everyone remembers.
The thing that makes her such a great teacher is she has the ability to brighten your day every single day. And when you talk to her, don't cry.
No, I have Kleenex up my sleeve.
and she just demands the best out of you.
One day, Steve Mann got an idea to honor Beverly.
Just watching TV, and I saw that a Guinness Book World Record was issued to a woman in Ohio. And she was given the award for the longest tenure in a single school. And so I said, for sure, Mrs. Hannett has to be in a category of some sort.
In February, he was notified she was the longest serving language teacher in the world, 68 straight years now.
Students, faculty, and invited guests, I am thrilled to announce
The real reason why we're all here today, Mrs. Hannah Price has earned a place in the Guinness Book of World Records.
And the reason why we did it, in addition to obviously wanting to honor her, is we felt like her story is a story that the world needs right now. You know, it's a world where there's a lot of divisiveness and negativity, and this woman doesn't have a negative moment in her life. On the darkest, gloomiest days, she will tell you how beautiful the storm clouds are.
Behind the clouds, it's all blue.
And so you just leave every day feeling like you can tackle the world.
Nearly 7 decades later, still making a difference in our future.
Schools are indispensable. They pass on the culture, the history, the future. The future. We have to embrace how blessed we are as Americans to live in this country.
By the way, I asked her about retirement plans. She's not even considering it. 90 years young, an American treasure. As we leave Detroit, we head east through Ohio and dip into Pennsylvania some 370 miles later. Time for a little shut-eye before a story about one of the darkest days in American history. Beyond the sounds of a whipping wind, the peaceful nature of this rural Pennsylvania field makes it hard to fathom what happened here 25 years ago.
This path is the flight path.
Oh, wow. On 9/11, the fourth plane crashed here. 40 passengers and crew on Flight 93 fought back, preventing an attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Down there before you get to the trees, there's a boulder. That's the impact crater.
Brad Schober remembers it well. He's not a tourist at the memorial. He witnessed the aftermath that terrible day. It was minutes after 10 a.m. Brad Schober was sitting in a classroom teaching when a fellow teacher popped in.
The teacher had told me that the plane went down in Somerset. I hadn't heard anything, so I called my wife, finally got through to her, and I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "Plane went down in Lambertsville." I said, "Well, who did they call?" She said, "Everybody." I said, "I'll be up."
Schober volunteered with the Shanksville Fire Department, serving roughly 3,000 people, the same amount of people who died on 9/11.
And this is a famous truck right here?
This is the famous truck. This is the first truck that was on the scene.
The first crew arrived as smoke filled the sky over the trees.
We pulled in here.
Schober, now president and assistant chief, was a fireman at the time.
I'm expecting like seeing a big fuselage and, you know, like a plane, and I get up there, there's pieces, little pieces laying around everywhere. Nothing big. I described it as if you took a toy plane and dropped it in the snow, the imprint it would make is, here's where the fuselage, and you could see where the wings went out, but there was no plane.
40 names line the memorial not far from the crash site. This is where you see the ceremonies on 9/11 year after year. The families of the fallen return often, even visiting the Shanksville Fire Department.
It puts a personal touch to it, you know, like for us, you know, this plane came out of the sky. We didn't know anybody on the plane. Nobody on the ground was hurt, so we don't have a personal connection to anybody that day, at least in our area, but we have since got to know these people and so on. And, you know, that, for us, it's meeting them and getting to know who was the passenger. And for them, it's getting to know who was handling their loved ones. It's kind of a unique thing.
Strangers show up randomly year after year from all over the world.
We have so much stuff, there's things archived just because we can't display it all. This flag gentleman came in this year on September 11th, and he made that and wanted to present it to us.
We wrapped up our visit at the Tower of Voices. 40 chimes to honor the heroism of those 40 passengers and crew. Another reminder to never forget.
Don't forget who did this. Don't forget what our reaction was. Don't forget the actions of the heroes that day. Don't forget the loss of that day. I mean, it's not a singular, don't forget just this. It's don't forget that day. And don't forget one of the biggest things, and I think the country's forgot it, is don't forget what September 12th felt like. Because right now we're all fighting again, but September 12th, we were here. And don't forget that we can be here. You just got to have the same goal.
After a quiet moment to reflect, we head due east, some 230 miles, and the city of brotherly love. We're here to meet a man with a heck of a name and a heck of a family history who has dedicated his life to studying the Constitution. You don't have to look far to feel the history in Philadelphia. Tourists flock to Independence Hall, the birthplace of America, where our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence and Constitution.
It's supposed to kind of tell us who we are, and I think that to understand who we are, you really need to think about who we've been and where we came from.
But it's on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania we are getting our lesson today on what it means to be an American with law professor Kermit Roosevelt.
So who are we? Well, you know, we are a bunch of different people. That's what I've really come to understand. That's maybe the most important insight. So there is no one American identity at the founding.
For more than 2 decades, Kermit has researched and pondered our founding documents as a law professor here at Penn Cary Law School, including a TED Talk in 2016.
Our story is a struggle, yes, but more fundamentally, it's a story of survival, and it's a story of improvement. We get better. We become more who we are meant to be. We get closer to our best selves. America is a progress.
At the heart of it, we're an ongoing evolution through revolution.
You know, what I'm saying is, from the Declaration of 1776, what you should learn about is revolution. You should learn that if the political system is unjust, you have a right to reject its authority and change it and make a government that works better.
And we see that evolution with constitutional amendments.
So that's a very different document. And I think, you know, we should look back on our origins with pride, and we should look back on them to figure out where we've come from, but we shouldn't look back on them to tell us who we are or who we want to be.
Now, your ears might have perked up when you heard Kermit's last name, Roosevelt. He is indeed the great-great-grandson of the 26th President, Teddy Roosevelt.
It's been amazing in a lot of ways because there are like people who want to talk to me and things I get invited to just because of who I am. That also feels sort of weird sometimes, you know, particularly as I get older and I'm like, you know, I've been teaching constitutional law for 24 years. I have things I want to talk about. And they're like, tell us amazing stories about Theodore Roosevelt that no one else knows. And I'm like, I don't know those stories. You know, they're all in the biographies.
But I did wonder what he thought his great-great-grandfather and the founding fathers would think of America 250 years later.
The founders of 1776 or 1787, I think, would be really shocked at how big and powerful the national government has gotten and how the states have sort of dwindled away into insignificance, because they really did think that if the national government gets out of line, the states are going to stand up and fight it. They would say, we were starting this out. You know, we were not trying to foresee how everything would go. We were expecting you to come up with solutions. You're not supposed to be looking back to us. We didn't know the problems that you would face. Obviously, we didn't have the answers.
Just like we won't have answers today for the problems of America 250 years in the future. From Philadelphia, we're headed northeast to the Big Apple, just 100 miles in less than 2 hours.
All right, so we made it to New York. You probably thought we were gonna do the Statue of Liberty or Times Square. That's too obvious. We want to find out what it's really like to grow up and live here in New York. So we're meeting up with a colleague of mine who was born here in Harlem and grew up in the Bronx. We're meeting up to find out about the real New York here in America.
How are you? I'm fine.
It only took a New York minute.
Good, Dan. I'm trying to look good, man. How you doing?
To understand the people of Harlem, know Dean Meminger.
Your dad used to live in the same building in 45.
Okay.
Born here, raised in the Bronx, and on air for New York One since 1997, even I was taking pictures for fans.
You ready? All right.
Dean's a hardcore journalist, making national news when the plane crashed into the Hudson River in 2009.
Planes always come across the Bronx when they leave LaGuardia, so we thought it would make it back.
But he's also got a flair for fashion and fun, especially on Halloween and New Year's Eve.
All right, welcome to New York One's Countdown to 2026. I'm Dean Meminger.
So we met Dean in the heart of Harlem to talk about this cultural and historical soul of New York City.
And when you talk about America 250, well, a lot of black people moved to Harlem because they wanted the American dream. They wanted to escape the depression, the oppression, the rules and laws of the South, when racism was so strong in those southern cities and southern states. A lot of black folks said, you know what, I'm going up north, and a lot of them ended up right here in Harlem as a part of the black migration.
As we headed up to 125th Street, even under construction, you can't miss this iconic spot.
And you see the Apollo Theater right in front of us. A lot of stars were born there, right? So from way back in the day, if you're talking about a James Brown or to Lauryn Hill or to newer artists today, you know, the Apollo Theater is a spot where a lot of people want to perform in New York City.
But even this iconic spot can't escape an evolving world.
You know, if you go to the corner here, you'll see some of the franchises that have come in. It brings economic vitality to the neighborhood. You know, economically, it helps to bring the neighborhood up, but there's still a lot of concern about, well, people who have been in Harlem a long time who maybe want to have their own business, can they afford to be here?
A far cry from the revolutionary battles that took place here in the 1700s, battles that led to freedom, but challenges remain in Harlem 250 years later.
I really believe it's about having freedom. You can do whatever you want for the most part, but as an American, we also have to think about our brothers and sisters who are here who haven't achieved the American dream, right? A lot of people are still struggling to achieve that American dream, and we have to think about them, because although we're doing okay, many others are not.
Our final stop in Lexington, Massachusetts is in our sights. We have to make one quick detour. When we started this journey, I had one person in particular I wanted to ask what it means to be an American. And we just got an invite. Time to head to the Granite State. Traveling through New England, it feels like you pass through a million quaint, tiny towns. But only Walpole, New Hampshire is home to perhaps the greatest documentary filmmaker of all time.
This is my great secret of being in New Hampshire and having the beauty of nature around, but also the isolation of the work we do is so labor intensive that having a place like this allows us to make the films carefully the way they deserve and not kind of do the quick and dirty thing.
Ken Burns has won 17 Emmys, 2 Grammy Awards, and 2 Oscar nominations over a span of 50 years. The most recent, a 6-part, 12-hour documentary on the American Revolution that took 10 years to complete.
They don't want something simplified into the, ABCs of the revolution, because that's what we've been fed. Where George Washington is always perfect, he's then unrelatable to if he's perfect, and he's not. And if you get a human dimension to him, then suddenly he's available to us.
As we've traveled the country, we've heard over and over a passionate plea for a more united states. So it was interesting when I asked Burns what was front of mind as we approach America at 250.
Well, I'm told constantly about how divided we are, how existentially threatened we are in this moment. And this is a very grave constitutional crisis that we're in the middle of. But what's so interesting is that we were as divided, if not more divided, during the Revolution. Civil War, way more divided. The post-Civil War period, what we call Reconstruction, the subject of the film I'm working on, way more divided. The Vietnam period, way more divided. So what history gives you is some perspective.
We've also experienced varying opinions on how we should interpret the words of our founders and how it relates to America today.
How do you view how we should view the documents today?
These are wonderful, important documents, but what's very positive, the thing that makes the American experiment so unique, is that it's built in the idea of improvement. That is to say, we're always debating what happiness is. It must be the acquisition of things in a marketplace of objects. Well, the founders meant lifelong learning. The more virtuous, the more educated you were, the more you would earn the right of this new thing called citizenship. But the key word in that phrase is pursuit. The pursuit of happiness. It's as if you're not meant to get there. You're always trying to improve. And 11 years later in the Constitution, a more perfect union. So we're a nation in the process of becoming. The words are foundational and elemental and to be taken for what they meant.
So what would the founders think about America today?
If the founders came today, they'd go, wow, you're still here? That's so amazing. I think they'd be not surprised that somebody was seeking sort of authoritarian powers because they were trying to reverse engineer against that all the time. They'd be disappointed that the Article 1, the legislative branch, had yielded so much of its power to the executive. That would disappoint them. But they'd looking around and they'd be thrilled at kind of what had taken place.
With only a few minutes left, it was time to ask the big question.
After all of your time studying American history and these characters and these documents, what do you think it means to be an American?
It means to be free. To be an American means to be free. We were given this unbelievable gift by people, some of them the richest people in the country. Can you imagine the richest people in the country sacrificing their lives and their fortunes and their sacred honor? To be an American is to fully engage with heart and mind and body in the process of democracy. It is not a spectator sport. It is active, it is muscular, and more than anything, it is about calling balls and strikes. It's about discerning what's wheat and what's chaff, what's true and what's made up. And that this is why it takes me 10 years to do a history of the American Revolution, because you have to wade through all of the stuff that gets in the way, the manipulation of history that takes place, understandably and unfortunately with a great deal of sort of ill intent. But that's okay. This is what human beings have been doing since there have been human beings.
America is complicated, but no one ever said freedom was easy. And with that, time for one last quick drive from New Hampshire to the place where it all started.
And so our epic journey across America ends here in Lexington, Massachusetts, the Lexington Green, where the first shots were fired in the American Revolutionary War. We've been on a mission to rediscover what it means to be an American. In some ways, it depends on who you ask, and in many cases, where, as we look at the founding of our country, where we are today, and where we might be 250 years from now. Some call it one big experiment, others a big, beautiful mess.
We visited 24 states and our nation's capital, nearly 6,100 miles, a snapshot of America. Historic landmarks and jaw-dropping sights, a passion to preserve culture, poetic patriotism, firemen and soldiers who risked their lives to protect, and those pushing to preserve basic rights for all. We've been amazed by the sights and sounds, but it's the people that have inspired us, teachers, farmers, and everyday Americans, as well as those who inspire the masses. It's our privilege to share these stories, and we don't take that for granted. We are free as Americans, but our freedom is not guaranteed.
Our obligation is to go out on the 4th of July, read the Declaration to our kids and our grandkids, and then have a good time and celebrate the great glory of being a citizen of the United States.
And somewhere on a pristine lake in New Hampshire, Ken Burns will do just that. Cheers to the next 250 years, the great American experiment.
This has been a special presentation of Spectrum News presented by San Antonio Shoemakers and Hershey's.